Want me to work for my interview? Will do, by user MaliciousCompliance. Disclaimer, nothing in this post is legal advice. I'm a lawyer but not your lawyer. Please do not take legal advice from internet randos. Background, I mostly work in a niche-ish area of law called discovery. Basically, when someone starts a legal proceeding, each party gets to ask other parties for certain documents relevant to the case. Sometimes parties refuse to produce certain documents because of reasons like attorney-client privilege. I argue why my client's documents are properly withheld or the other side's documents are improperly withheld. One day I see a job board post from a local law firm looking for a research/writing position with required experience in discovery disputes. This raises a red flag for two reasons. First, local law firms normally do not need to hire full-time RNW people because 95% of that firm's cases are very similar, i.e. a personal injury firm normally only handles personal injury cases, so keeping a full-time researcher is not worthwhile when all your cases are basically the same. When these local firms need something researched, they either just do it themselves or pay someone else for a few hours of work. Second, this local firm hired a friend of mine by telling them start here, work hard, and move up to senior associate in a few years before promptly letting them go after a few busy months. I go ahead and send my resume over and get scheduled for an interview pretty quickly. During the interview I gave them a fairly high salary ask which they agreed to almost instantly. It's a trap.jpg. Then the partner hits me with the following. Partner, we ask all candidates to provide a writing sample before the final interview. Me, sure thing. I thought I attached one to the application, but let me grab my phone and double check. Oh, not that writing sample, that is too generic for evaluation. Here is a legal question that we want you to research. I see. More than happy to do that at an hourly rate. It should be fairly quick work. No other candidate has asked us for writing sample compensation, and this makes it seem like you won't be a team player. If you aren't interested in the position, just tell us. Let me think about it. So I go home and search a couple of local court dockets, and wouldn't you know it, this firm is involved in a case with a hearing set on exactly the discovery question they want me to produce a free writing sample on. Lizard.gif. I send an email back saying sure thing, I will make the writing sample, as long as it guarantees consideration for the RNW position. They say yes. I write a fantastic memo and send it in. A few weeks go by and I email asking for an update on the final interview. No response. Then I check that court docket, and wouldn't you know it, they straight up copy/pasted parts of my memo in the response. Always shunny you dumbitch.jpg. I send a demand letter for payment and fees. No response. I file a lawsuit for fraud. Oh baby, then I got a response. A frothy, salty response. Frothaltly. I got called some names. They went on and on about how I was going to lose, and after I lost how they were going to countersue me. I said sounds good, can't wait to lose. I guess you did hire a full-time RNW attorney. I mean, it would be like Babytown Frolics easy to win if you never hired for that position. Actually, it would be even easier if you never even had a final interview for the spot. I'm sure you aren't that dumb though. Got the check 30 days later. Investor wants to buy my house way over market value? Sure, no problem, by user DotaHead974. So I'll start by saying that this story is not mine, it is my parents' next door neighbor of 20 years. Background, my parents and their neighbor bought homes in an up-and-coming part of Florida 20 years ago, talking 1/2 acre lots with 2,500 square foot homes for like $130,000. Our neighbor's home was a little smaller than my parents', no pool, and over the 20 years the only thing done to the house was a new roof. Nothing else had been changed, everything was still the original: appliances, paint, AC unit, cabinets, tile and carpet. I wish I could say she took care of it and never needed to change things, but that wasn't the case. Our neighbor's house looks 20 years old. Well, she is a widow and the house is huge for just her, so she decided to sell and take advantage of the market. She listed it for $400,000. Despite her never having put a penny into it, the house goes on a bidding war, and the top bidder is an investor from California. She offers to pay $30,000 over asking, pay the closing costs, and can do it same day. Cue malicious compliance. The investor woman had two stipulations: our neighbor takes the house off the market immediately, and she turns over the key to her management company with the cash for the home held in escrow until the key was turned over and our neighbor's side of the paperwork done. Now our neighbor was upfront with this woman and the state of the home, and asked if she wanted to have her management company come look at it first. The woman says no, I'm renting the house and it doesn't need to be painted. Just pull it off the market. This woman essentially bought the home for about $450,000 when it was all said and done. So our neighbor immediately goes to the management company office with her realtor, signs her paperwork, hands over the key, and gets the check for the home. A few days later, our neighbor gets a call from investor lady. She is irate. The house is in disarray. It needs a paint job ASAP. New appliances and flooring at the least. She demands that our neighbor paint the house. She won't take ownership of the home until that is done. To which our neighbor responds to her, "It's not my home anymore. It was signed over to you and that the check handed to me and cleared. That house is no longer my problem." Enjoy. This story all came about because yesterday my parents called our old neighbor. There was a for sale sign on the house again and we were confused. Our old neighbor promptly showed up and told us the story and we are all laughing hysterically because the woman has it listed for $430,000, which anyone with eyes to tour it would never pay, and even if she did get it, she'd still be losing a fuck ton of money. Who doesn't love a story when greedy investors trying to inflate the market lose and lose big? TLDR, investor offers top dollar for a shit home, without doing any due diligence, and loses big. Father's Day Compliance, by Yuzrunkle Kyoji. 18 years ago, not about, trust me, I know this one to the date, I was over Dad's house and I needed a wrench, and coming from a long line of mechanics, I knew he's have one available as I didn't have my kit in my car, so I asked to borrow one. Dad of course said yes, handed me the mechanic's toolbox, and just out of habit, I opened it and immediately noticed that a Craftsman's 7/16 ratchet end wrench was missing. Again, I come from a long line of mechanics, every tool has its place, be it in a drawer, box, or outlined on a pegboard, and I thought it was weird that Dad lost a wrench out of the spare/house tool kit. "You're missing a 7/16. I pointed out, showing him the missing slot. Now Dad, being Dad, just had to bust on me a bit, so looking me dead in the eyes and beaming a huge smile he responded, "It was there when I gave it to you." Mind you, I hadn't left the kitchen. I hadn't so much as shifted my feet. I knew he was lying, he knew he was lying, but it had been ingrained in me since childhood that losing a tool is a death sentence. Now, I knew he was busting my balls and I let it go, but from that day forward, anytime we needed something, he'd make a comment like, "Sure wish I had that 7/16 wrench that Coyote lost, or you know what would fix it? That missing 7/16 wrench." This went on for months. So one day, he made the usual tease me for losing a tool comment and I warned him. I looked him in the eyes and said, "Say it one more time, old man, and you're going to get that wrench every birthday, Father's Day, and Christmas for the rest of your natural life." Few hours passed, I asked him to hand me a tool and he said, "I can't, you lost it, remember?" I laughed, and played it off, but it was on, and that was 18 years ago. Today, being Father's Day, he just received his 52nd Craftsman's ratchet end, 7/16 wrench. Since that day, he's tried telling me that he knows that I didn't lose it, I knew that already, that I don't need to buy it, oh, I fucking do, and he's occasionally tried to say it was a different size or item to get a different present, but we both know that's not happening. They're everywhere. Every coffee can, junk drawer, cabinet, toolbox, pegboard, or spare nail in the house and garage contains a Craftsman's 7/16 ratchet end wrench. You know how they say you're never more than 8 feet from a spider? Well, in Dad's world, you're never more than 7 feet from a Craftsman's 7/16 ratchet end wrench, because there are at least 2 in his truck at this point as well. When will it end? When the old bastard dies. The last wrench will go in his cold, dead hand so he can tighten bolts in hell, because I warned him. God damn it. I warned him. Happy Father's Day to all of you with weird traditions, jokes and relationships with the man who made you who you are today. And if you need a wrench, hit me up, I know a guy. TLDR, Dad teased me about losing a tool that he lost, and I've replaced it as of today, 52 times. Smoke breaks are only for smokers? Deal, by user Vampirwolf. Conversation at work yesterday reminded me of this one. Back in 2000 I was working at a Royal Burger place. Damn near full-time while in high school, M/T/TH 5 to 10 p.m., F/S 10 to 7 a.m., Sun 12 to 7 p.m. when needed. Friday and Saturday was as maintenance, the rest of the time was as kitchen. Primarily as the one feeding burgers and buns through the broiler, and then into the steamer. I had moved into the maintenance split about 4 to 5 months in, which caused issues getting my reviews at 6 and 12 month, but that's another rant. One of 3 maintenance people for 5 locations. The standard practice around there was that as supper rush was starting, we'd lose 4 people that went out back to smoke, including the shift manager, and leave 3 of us scrambling for 15 minutes. I complained and was told that there is a smoke break allowed every hour, nothing says it has to be a fixed time. First off, I just went out with the smokers for 5 minutes and was told by that same shift manager that it was only for smokers and not just a general break. Fine by me. Malicious compliance time. The next shift with her, I walked out with them as supper rush was starting and lit one up. All of a sudden she's screaming at me to get back in and get burgers in the broiler. Sorry, but I get a smoke break every hour, and they can be any time in that hour like you told me. Or were we all going back in? All of a sudden we have a new rule posted in the break room and on that back door, only 2 smokers outside at any given time and not between 5 to 7 p.m. Pack of smokes was lasting me 3 to 4 weeks, only smoked at work when I wanted a 5 minutes break for the remainder of my time there. That same shift manager gave me a dirty look every time I walked back and every time we worked together after that. Edit, for everyone wondering, I only smoked at work and didn't have any habit when I left. I enjoy the occasional cigar or cigarette, but when I mean occasional I mean occasional. Couldn't tell you when I had my last. You want to escalate to Tier 3 support? Okay, there's a process for that, let's do it, by user_new_expression_5724. I worked in customer support for a tech firm, and if I may say so, the company is good at it and I am good at it. We have customer satisfaction stories and data to prove it. Our customer support is what gives us a competitive advantage in our marketplace and makes us very profitable. One day, I get a phone call from a customer. I say hello, and his response is, I want to talk to third-tier support. Okay. We have a process for that. What seems to be the problem? No, you don't understand. I don't want to talk to you, I want to talk to third-tier support. Actually, I do understand. You want to talk to third-tier support. I'm setting that up. But there are a few questions I have to ask you, and if I don't know the answers to those questions, then they aren't going to call you, they are going to ask me to call you back and get those answers. So, what seems to be the problem? He explains to me the problem. Have you tried this? No, you don't understand. I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to third-tier support, you know, the guys who aren't working from a script. I assure you, sir, I am not working from a script. Have you tried this? Yes, I did. Now may I talk to third-tier support? Have you tried that? Yes, I did. Now may I talk to third-tier support? My problem isn't on your script. There is no script for this problem. I am asking you this question because I thoroughly understand our device and I know, from previous experience, that might solve your problem. Have you tried this other thing? What makes you think that this other thing is going to solve the problem? Well, I've been doing this work for a couple of years now, and I have a pretty good idea of how these things work. So I thought this other thing might solve the problem. Look, I have a master's degree in computer science. I want to talk to somebody in third-tier support. Now, I do not want to disrespect computer scientists, because CS is hard field to get into. But everybody should understand that there is a big difference between computer scientists, computer programmers, system administrators, database administrators, network administrators, cybersecurity analysts, program managers, and customer support people. Computer scientists do research on artificial intelligence, algorithms, compiler design, large databases, and other theoretical topics. Those are important topics. Computer programmers, by way of contrast, write computer programs. They need to know about computer science topics, but computer science is a means not an end. The same is true for all of the other specialties that I mentioned. He may be a really good computer scientist, but that doesn't mean he a network administrator or a system administrator, those are different specialties. Somebody who says, I have a master's degree in computer science, I don't need to talk to you knows a great deal about what he knows, but doesn't know what he doesn't know. I've been around long enough to know that there is a great deal I don't know. Just try this other thing, and if that doesn't work, then I will give you to third-tier support. Promise. Promise. I can hear him typing away in the background, swearing, and cursing. I can hear when he hits the return key because he hits it hard. Then he picks up the phone and says, "It's working now. Great. You still want me to escalate to third-tier support?" Then I get a torrential outpouring of expletives. Since this is a family channel, I won't give the details but rather leave it to your imagination, gentle reader. Then he hung up on me. Wouldn't you know it? He got a customer satisfaction survey and I got straight zeros. I got called into my boss's office and we had a conversation about the call. He was upset, and I can't say I blame him because he also gets graded on our survey scores. He called in some third-tier support people to listen to the recording, for training and quality assurance purposes, and they said I did everything right. Me, did not deserve that rating. They also said that there was no way I deserved that abuse and that the survey should be tossed out. Unfortunately, the rules are the rules and that score counted. So I lost my quarterly bonus, a couple of $1,000. However, the big boss felt awful about the whole affair, so he and his wife took my wife and me out to dinner at the most expensive restaurant in town. We had a lovely time. At the end of the evening, I noticed that he paid for the meal with his personal, not his corporate credit card. I asked him about that. His response was golden: "I'm in a position where I could probably get away with it, but that wouldn't be right. What happened to you wasn't right either. This dinner is my way of making it up to you as best I can, and I figured if I am going to do that, I might as well take my wife and your wife along. Why not?" He knew I was married because I have the ring. I love that guy. Worked for him for years. I would have liked the couple of $1,000, but the acknowledgement that I had been screwed was a good second place.